The person you love wants to tell you something very important right now. Please read this message immediately. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because the words you're about to hear may touch a place in your heart that has been waiting for understanding. Perhaps you've been carrying unanswered questions, replaying old conversations, wondering whether silence truly means the end. Listen carefully, because sometimes the loudest emotions are the ones that never become spoken words. This is not a prediction about your future. It is an invitation to imagine what healing, honesty, and courage might sound like if every fear finally stepped aside. Something huge is waiting for you, not because destiny guarantees it, but because one honest conversation can change everything. Imagine, for a moment, the person you love sitting alone long after the world has gone quiet. Their phone is in their hand, your name appears on the screen, and they begin typing the message they have rewritten 100 different times. Every sentence feels too small for everything they wish they had said. They wonder if too much time has passed, if too many misunderstandings have built walls between two hearts that once felt impossible to separate. Yet beneath every doubt lives a quiet truth: real feelings have a way of refusing to disappear, no matter how deeply they are buried. What if the silence you feared was never indifference at all? What if it was uncertainty, pride, fear, or the struggle to find the right words? Many people carry emotions they desperately want to express but never learned how to say aloud. They convince themselves tomorrow will be easier than today, only to discover tomorrow arrives carrying the same hesitation. And with every passing day, the weight of unsent words grows heavier until the heart begins asking for courage louder than fear can answer. Stay till the end, because this changes everything. Think back to the moments that still linger in memory, the unexpected smile, the conversation that lasted longer than either of you planned, the quiet comfort of simply knowing someone understood you without explanation. Those memories don't always disappear just because life becomes complicated. Sometimes they remain like gentle echoes, reminding us that certain connections leave lasting impressions, even when people travel different paths. Perhaps the message they wish they could send is remarkably simple. Perhaps it begins with, "I've been thinking about you more than I expected." Maybe it continues with an apology that has waited far too long to be spoken. Or maybe it becomes a confession that vulnerability always felt terrifying because caring deeply means risking disappointment. Honest emotions often arrive without perfect timing, but they still carry the power to soften hearts that have been guarded for far too long. Listen carefully. If you've been waiting for certainty before opening your own heart, consider another possibility. Sometimes healing begins not with guarantees but with compassion, for yourself, for the other person, and for the reality that every human being is learning how to love while carrying invisible fears. The most meaningful conversations rarely begin because everything is perfect. They begin because someone decides honesty matters more than hiding. Don't skip this final thought. Whether this imagined message reflects someone in your life or simply reminds you of the importance of open communication, let it encourage you rather than define your expectations. If someone truly values the connection you share, genuine care is shown through consistent actions, respectful communication, and mutual effort over time. And if the conversation you've been hoping for eventually arrives, meet it with wisdom instead of fear, with kindness instead of assumptions, and with the quiet confidence that truth, spoken with sincerity, always has the power to open a new chapter. The moment you stop trying to force every answer is often the moment your heart begins to hear what it truly needs. Stay till the end, because the story is only becoming more powerful. Imagine that same person sitting beneath the quiet glow of the night, realizing that every distraction they once used to avoid their feelings has finally stopped working. They can no longer convince themselves that forgetting is easier than facing the truth. Every familiar place reminds them of a memory. Every quiet evening brings your name back into their thoughts. They begin to understand that some connections leave a mark that time alone cannot erase. Whether they eventually speak or not, they can no longer pretend those feelings never existed. Listen carefully. There comes a point when people grow tired of arguing with their own hearts. They replay old conversations, wishing they had chosen patience over pride, honesty over silence, and understanding over assumptions. They realize that the words left unsaid have become heavier than the mistakes they were trying to avoid. That realization doesn't erase the past, but it changes how they see the future. Instead of asking, "What if I get hurt?" they begin asking, "What if I lose the chance to say what truly matters?" Sometimes that single question becomes the beginning of real courage. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Imagine them opening an old photo, smiling without realizing it, then suddenly becoming quiet as the emotions return all at once. They remember the little details no one else would notice, the way you laughed, the conversations that lasted late into the night, the comfort of simply knowing someone cared enough to listen. Those memories no longer feel like something to escape. Instead, they become gentle reminders that meaningful connections deserve honesty, even when honesty feels uncomfortable. The heart begins to whisper that avoiding the truth has never brought peace. As these thoughts grow stronger, something unexpected happens inside them. The walls they spent so much time building no longer feel like protection. They begin to feel like barriers keeping them away from the conversations they wish they had. Fear still exists, but it no longer has complete control. Hope quietly starts taking its place. Not the kind of hope that guarantees an outcome, but the kind that reminds people every new conversation is a chance to understand each other a little better. That small shift in perspective changes the direction of everything that follows. Stay till the end, because the next chapter begins with a choice. The choice isn't about chasing someone or demanding answers. It's about choosing honesty over uncertainty, kindness over resentment, and growth over endless guessing. Whether this imagined story reflects your own life or simply mirrors emotions many people experience, let it remind you that the strongest relationships are built through openness, respect, and mutual effort. Sometimes the most important message isn't the one we've been waiting to receive, it's the one we finally become brave enough to share ourselves. And when that moment arrives, what happens next has the power to change the story forever. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because the deepest emotions rarely arrive with loud announcements. They reveal themselves in quiet moments when a person can no longer outrun their own heart. Stay till the end, because the story is reaching a turning point that speaks to the courage of honest communication rather than certainty about another person's feelings. Imagine that the person you care about has reached one of those nights where every attempt to stay busy suddenly loses its power. The silence around them feels different now, not because it holds answers, but because it finally gives them space to hear the questions they've been avoiding for so long. They begin to understand that pretending not to care has become far more exhausting than admitting they still have something important they wish they had said. The memories they once tried to push aside now return with remarkable clarity. Small details that seemed ordinary at the time suddenly carry unexpected meaning. They remember the conversations that made them laugh when everything else felt difficult, the moments of quiet understanding that didn't need perfect words, and the comfort of feeling truly seen. Those memories don't promise what comes next, but they remind them that genuine connections often leave lasting impressions. Instead of wondering how to erase the past, they begin wondering what healing might look like if both people chose honesty over assumptions. That single thought opens a door they believed had been locked forever. Don't skip, because this changes everything. As they reflect on everything that happened, another realization slowly begins to take shape. They recognize that fear had been quietly making decisions on their behalf for far too long. Fear of rejection. Fear of misunderstanding. Fear that vulnerability might be mistaken for weakness. Yet the more they sit with those fears, the more they realize that avoiding difficult conversations never brought the peace they were searching for. They begin to understand that while honesty cannot guarantee the outcome they hope for, it can free them from carrying the weight of endless, what-if, questions. Listen carefully. There is something profoundly human about wanting to be understood. Every person carries unspoken thoughts, unfinished conversations, and words they wish they had found sooner. Sometimes those words remain hidden because life becomes complicated. Sometimes they stay hidden because people are still learning how to express emotions they were never taught to share. But every now and then, a quiet moment arrives when the heart gently reminds us that sincerity is stronger than silence. That realization doesn't erase every obstacle, but it creates the possibility for a different tomorrow, one built on truth instead of speculation. Stay till the end, because the next chapter isn't about destiny making choices for anyone. It's about two people discovering that meaningful relationships grow through mutual respect, patience, and honest communication. If this story reminds you of someone in your own life, let it encourage reflection rather than expectation. The most important message is not that someone is guaranteed to return or confess their feelings. It's that every meaningful connection deserves compassion, whether it leads to reunion, closure, or a new beginning. And sometimes, the greatest transformation begins the moment someone finally finds the courage to speak from the heart instead of hiding behind silence. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because every meaningful journey reaches a moment when silence can no longer carry the weight of everything left unsaid. Stay till the end, because what you're about to hear is not about certainty, it's about the quiet strength that grows when people stop hiding from what they truly feel. Imagine the person you care about waking before sunrise, unable to fall back asleep because their thoughts keep returning to the same question. If I had one more chance to speak honestly, what would I say? They don't have every answer, and they don't know exactly how the conversation would unfold, but for the first time they recognize that avoiding the truth has cost them more peace than facing it ever could. As the day unfolds, they notice how often memories appear in ordinary places. A familiar song, a favorite coffee shop, a quiet street, or even the changing colors of the evening sky remind them that some experiences continue shaping us long after the moment has passed. Instead of pushing those memories away, they begin allowing themselves to learn from them. They realize that every relationship, whether it lasts forever or not, teaches something valuable about trust, patience, forgiveness, and the courage to be seen. That realization softens the walls they once believed would protect them. Little by little, they begin replacing defensiveness with curiosity and fear with hope. Don't skip, because this changes everything. In the stillness of another evening, they imagine the conversation they wish they could have. Not one filled with perfect speeches or dramatic promises, but one built on honesty. They imagine saying, "I don't know exactly where this road leads, but I wanted you to know what has been in my heart." They picture listening just as much as speaking, understanding that genuine connection grows when both people feel safe enough to be real. For the first time in a long while, they stop focusing on controlling the outcome and begin focusing on showing up with sincerity. That shift may seem small, but it changes the entire direction of the story. Listen carefully. This imagined journey isn't only about the other person, it invites you to reflect on your own heart as well. Are there words you've been holding back? Are there assumptions you've carried without giving someone the chance to clarify them? Sometimes healing begins with one thoughtful conversation, and sometimes it begins by making peace with yourself regardless of another person's response. Either way, courage is never wasted. Every step toward honesty is also a step toward becoming the kind of person who loves with wisdom, kindness, and respect. Stay till the end, because the next chapter is where everything begins to move. Whether this story reminds you of your own life or simply reflects emotions many people experience, remember that no meaningful connection is built on guesses alone. It grows through mutual effort, clear communication, and genuine care shown over time. The message worth holding on to is simple. Let hope inspire you, let truth guide you, and let patience give every relationship the space it needs to reveal what is real. And just when it seems the story has reached its quietest moment, a new page is ready to be written, one conversation, one choice, and one honest heart at a time. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because this chapter reaches beyond unanswered questions and into something far more important. The quiet transformation that happens when two hearts begin valuing truth over fear. Stay till the end, because what follows is not a promise about someone else's actions. It is a reminder that genuine love is strengthened by honesty, patience, and the willingness to grow. Imagine the person you care about standing at the edge of an ordinary day, realizing that the words they have avoided for so long are no longer asking to be hidden. They are asking to be understood. For a long time, they believed silence would protect them from disappointment. They convinced themselves that keeping everything inside was safer than risking vulnerability. But every day they remained quiet, they also carried the weight of wondering how things might have been different if they had simply spoken with an open heart. That question followed them through busy mornings and quiet nights alike. Eventually, they discovered something surprising. Fear may delay an honest conversation, but it can never replace one. The heart has a remarkable way of reminding us that authenticity brings a peace that pretending never can. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Picture them taking a deep breath before writing the first sentence they wish they had shared long ago. They erase it. They write it again. Not because the words are difficult to find, but because they want those words to reflect respect, kindness, and sincerity rather than impulse. They begin to understand that meaningful conversations are not about saying exactly the right thing, they are about showing up with honesty and listening with compassion. In that moment, they realize that courage is not the absence of fear, courage is choosing truth even when fear is still present. Listen carefully. While they are learning these lessons, you are invited to learn something just as meaningful. Real connections are not measured only by intense emotions or unforgettable memories. They are measured by consistency, mutual care, healthy communication, and the willingness to understand one another through both joyful and difficult seasons. Every relationship faces moments of uncertainty, but those moments can become opportunities for growth when both people approach them with empathy instead of assumptions. Stay till the end, because the most important realization has finally arrived. Whether this imagined story mirrors your own experience or simply offers a moment of reflection, remember that lasting relationships are never built on mystery alone. They are built one honest conversation at a time, one act of kindness at a time, and one choice to respect each other at a time. Sometimes the message we have been waiting to hear is not hidden in dramatic signs or perfect timing, it is found in the simple courage to speak sincerely, listen openly, and allow the future to unfold with wisdom rather than fear. And perhaps that is where every truly unforgettable story begins. Not with certainty, but with two hearts willing to meet each other with honesty when the moment finally arrives. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because every unforgettable story reaches a moment when the heart becomes stronger than the excuses that once kept it silent. Stay till the end, because this chapter is not about predicting another person's future, it is about the quiet realization that love grows through truth, understanding, and the courage to be vulnerable. Imagine the person you care about looking out a window as the evening settles in, realizing that no amount of distraction has answered the questions they keep carrying. Instead of trying to escape those feelings, they finally allow themselves to sit with them. In that stillness, they begin to understand that every meaningful connection deserves honesty more than perfection. As they reflect, they notice how much they have changed. The version of themselves that once believed every difficult conversation should be avoided slowly begins to fade. In its place stands someone who understands that relationships are not strengthened by pretending everything is fine. They are strengthened when people are willing to admit mistakes, express appreciation, ask sincere questions, and truly listen to one another. Those lessons did not arrive overnight. They came through disappointment, reflection, and the quiet hope that tomorrow can be approached differently than yesterday. Don't skip, because this changes everything. They imagine what they would say if they had the chance to begin again. Not dramatic promises or impossible guarantees, but simple words spoken from the heart. I want to understand. I want to communicate honestly. I want to move forward with kindness, no matter where the conversation leads. Those words carry a different kind of strength. They are not trying to control the outcome, they are expressing the values they wish to bring into any meaningful relationship. And that shift transforms the conversation before it even begins. Listen carefully. This imagined message carries something valuable for you as well. If someone truly matters to you, let your actions reflect respect, patience, and genuine care. If there are conversations waiting to happen, approach them with openness rather than assumptions. If there are misunderstandings, give each other the opportunity to clarify them. And if the paths you walk eventually differ, let that chapter close with dignity instead of regret. Growth is never measured by whether every relationship lasts forever. It is measured by the wisdom, compassion, and integrity we carry forward. Stay till the end, because the story is reaching its deepest truth. Every heart longs to be understood, every person hopes to be accepted for who they truly are, and every meaningful connection is shaped by countless small choices to communicate with honesty. Whether this narrative reminds you of your own journey or simply encourages reflection, let it inspire you to choose courage over fear and sincerity over silence. Sometimes the most life-changing message is not hidden in mystery at all. It is found in the quiet decision to love with maturity, to speak with kindness, and to leave room for hope without demanding certainty. And as one chapter gently comes to a close, another quietly begins, waiting to be written by the choices both hearts make from this moment forward. My beloved child, don't skip. Listen carefully, because you have stayed through every chapter, every unanswered question, every quiet moment of reflection, and now you have arrived at the ending that changes everything, not because it promises a certain future, but because it reminds you where real strength begins. Every meaningful relationship is shaped by choices, by honesty, by patience, and by the willingness to keep your heart open without losing yourself. If this story has touched something deep within you, let that feeling become a reason to move forward with wisdom instead of fear. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not that life suddenly becomes perfect, but that your heart becomes strong enough to face whatever comes next with grace. Perhaps the person you have been thinking about is also learning lessons of their own. Perhaps they are discovering that silence cannot replace honest communication and that fear cannot build the future they truly hope for. Or perhaps your paths are leading you toward different kinds of healing. Whatever unfolds, remember that your worth has never depended on another person's decision. You are valuable because of who you are, not because someone else chooses or doesn't choose you. That truth is something no disappointment can ever take away. Stay till the end, because this final message is for every heart that has ever waited, hoped, loved, or wondered if brighter days were still possible. Never let unanswered questions convince you that your story is over. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to grow, to forgive, to communicate with kindness, and to welcome new possibilities. Life has a remarkable way of opening doors we never expected once we stop believing that only one outcome can bring happiness. Keep your heart soft enough to love, yet strong enough to protect your peace. Don't skip this final thought. If someone truly belongs in your life, that connection will be strengthened through mutual respect, consistent effort, honesty, and compassion. If they return, welcome the conversation with wisdom rather than assumptions. If they don't, trust that you still have the power to build a joyful and meaningful future. Every chapter, whether it brings reunion, closure, or a fresh beginning, can shape you into a wiser, kinder, and more resilient person. And now, my beloved child, take one slow breath and carry this message with you. Never be afraid to speak with sincerity, never be ashamed of loving with an open heart, and never forget that hope is strongest when it walks beside truth. The story you have just heard is an invitation to believe in healing, to value genuine connection, and to remember that every ending is also the beginning of another chapter waiting to be written. Walk into that chapter with courage. Walk into it with peace. Walk into it knowing that the greatest love story you will ever experience is one built on honesty, respect, and the quiet confidence that your best days are still ahead. If these words encouraged you, carry their message into your day, share kindness wherever you go, and remember, the next beautiful chapter of your life is written one honest conversation, one brave decision, and one hopeful step at a time. Until we meet again, take care of your heart, and never stop believing in the power of love, growth, and new beginnings.